Hey y'all, it's T with the Diva here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. I just need a couple more subscribers before I can go live. So just tell your friend to tell your friends to tell your friends to tell your friend to subscribe to my page. Okay, so I'm about to tell y'all this story about this crazy man. I'm not a real storyteller, but when I really get interested in a story, I want to tell it. So I'm going to just freestyle this story. It's very long. The process was very long, but yeah. So if I skip over some little facts, I'll come back to them because you will have the gist of it before I end the conversation. So this story is it's a sad story, and it's about a young man by the name of Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. It happened. This incident happened in Waukesha, Wisconsin, on November 21st of 2021. So, this young man was born like February something like 84, 82, 84, something like that. He like 40 something, 41, 42 years old. And he was a twin. He had a twin sister that was born with him. Unfortunately, she passed away. Allegedly, I hear from a drug overdose. I'm not sure. But anyway, she passed away some years ago. She left 2 children. She had a son and a daughter. And so he got a niece and a nephew. And he got a couple kids himself. And then a mom raised them, as a single mother. And so this young man, he did experience a life, full of crime. I think he got diagnosed when he was like 12 or 13 with bipolarism. I think he had schizophrenia. He had some mental illness there. So he ended up meeting his first baby mother when he was like 18 or 19 and she was only like 13. So he started out his life of crime on the sex offenders list because he ended up catching a charge for that. He ended up getting her pregnant, and they had a little girl. And then the daughter ended up having a baby when she was 16, which was like a year or so ago. But anyway, he impregnated the young lady. Her name is Erica Patterson. And he impregnated her. They ended up having a baby. I think they reported him. And then he went and caught a case, and he was on the sex offenders list. So now, fast forward, he's sleeping. His mama got him sleeping in a car in her driveway because he also caught a case because he shot at the nephew. So the nephew, which is a sister's son, he got into it with the nephew some years before, and he shot at the nephew. The nephew ended up just driving off. He didn't shoot him, but he did catch a case about it. And I think he had probation for that. But anyway, he was battered baby daddy, husband, boyfriend, whatever, to the girl Erica. So he was beating on her, and he just had a lot of issues. So he couldn't live with the mama. The mother didn't like the young lady, the girlfriend, because she felt like she was an alcoholic and she made it worse for him and all of this. So she couldn't live in the house. Well, he couldn't live in the house with his mom. So he would charge his phone and sleep in her red SUV. Also, some months before the incident, November 21st, 2021, he ran over Erica. They were fighting and he ran her over. crazy, I know. So he had a no contact order with her, and he wasn't supposed to be communicating with her. However, his mom bailed him out of jail when he went for running her over. For some reason, the judge gave him a low bail, and she was able to bond him out. So he had a no contact with her. Well, when she left, she went to a shelter. So he calls her on this particular day and asks her where she is. Of course, she's not supposed to tell him where she is because she's supposed to have a no contact order. But she's a battered woman. So he had her here before he got her here. So she's hoping that he's calling her to, like, you know, make up maybe, or maybe he want to apologize for something he did or whatever. You know, she's just looking at it like maybe it could be a positive thing. Her roommate at the homeless shelter and her roommate's friend, which was a guy, told her, the way you tell me about this dude, I don't think you should meet up with him. But of course, she's a battered woman. She has hope all the time because she wants it to be hope in their relationship. So, of course, he steals his mother's car because he didn't have permission to drive it. He's supposed to be living in it and charging his phone, right? So he takes the mother's car and he drives it to this homeless shelter at a park near the homeless shelter so he could speak with Erica. Well, in the midst of him speaking with her and they having a conversation, he gets angry and he beats on her. He did this 2 days in a row because he met up with her on the 20th also. But the 21st is when the whole incident happened. So anyway, they met up again on the 21st. He beat her up on the 20th. But it wasn't in the case because they didn't want to muddy the water. So they didn't mention it. But the 21st is when he came back and he was like really angry because he felt like you was the reason why I ran over you. Duh. Gaslighting her. And he felt like, you got to give me some money on this bond so I could pay my mama back so she won't be up my ass talking about why I ain't giving her this money back. You had something to do with this. It take two to argue, blah, 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 blah. So he meets up with her. He gets mad with her. She calls her friends while he's in the car, like beating her. And she's like, he wanted to fight. Y'all was right. He wanted to fight. So can y'all come meet me again? They go back to meet him. And he burrows. Well, he got into it. No, he didn't burrow off. Before he burrowed off, he got into a fight with the roommate and the other guy too. He started fighting them. Got mad because they got involved in it. You know how battered men are when other people get involved in them being battered men. So he was really offended when they got involved because she's never really had anybody to save her. So he usually can just beat her to a pulp. So she was able to get away because she called them and they came and got her and they, got her away. Well, they flagged down a cop so that they could report this to the cop. But 2 blocks away, there's a parade going on. Because there's a Christmas parade that they have every year. So the Christmas parade is happening 2 streets over from where they stopped the police to report this domestic violence. Well, while they're reporting it in the radio, the police radio, he hears, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Get down to such and such street at such and such right now. We got an accident, blah, 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 blah. This fool, Darrell Brooks, he has approached the parade traffic. So he's riding through the parade, traffic going towards the way that they are marching, which means that he's riding behind the parade, but they don't see him drive up. they're marching in the parade. You know how parades are. They have different groups of people. So it's like the dancing grannies are marching. Citizens Bank is marching. Such and such high school marching band is marching. The such and such cheerleaders are marching. Behind them is the such and such baseball team that's marching. So they're all marching in these clusters of people, and they're going along in this marching band. Well, because they can hear the noise and the energy change, they automatically, some of them, start looking back to see, because you hearing gasps and screams and, oh my God, everybody move out the way, everybody move, no, he's coming through, blah, blah, blah. Police officers running, trying to chase the car. They trying to get him off the street. They thinking like, did somebody go get into a diabetic coma and just ride through the, like, what's going on? He was doing like 25 or 30. That's way too fast to drive during a parade. Parade traffic is usually going 3 to 5 miles per hour because they're driving in a parade. So parade traffic is very, very slow. He's weaving in and out of traffic, driving, but he's going at 25 or 30 miles per hour, which is so fast. So he's slamming into people, hitting them. They said people are flying up in the air like bowling pins and dropping to the ground. They had people who got injured because people were landing on them. Can you imagine somebody we all standing together and somebody being hit and they fly up in the air? Nothing happens to me because I'm just marching in the marching band, but somebody falls on my head and I fall out. And now I'm injured because my marching band mate or cheerleading mate or whoever has flew into the air and landed on my head. And now I'm unconscious. My arm broke. My leg broke. It was a mess. He ended up killing 5 people, injuring a plethora of several other, like 65, 66 other people. And then a 6th person ended up reporting their death. They ended up reporting the 6th death the next day, which was a young man, 10-year-old Jackson Sparks. He ends up, he's deceased because he didn't die right off. His age probably saved him an extra day. And he was just a baby. He couldn't sustain all those injuries. I don't know everything that happened to him, but he couldn't sustain all those injuries. So they picked the crazy man up. And I don't believe he did it on purpose. I really do not believe he did this on purpose. I don't believe he's racist. I do not believe he hates white people. Caucasian, I don't think that. I think that he had a mental break. He was that angry at that young lady, and he just saw black, and he ended up just creating chaos in the streets. And so the police end up interrogating him. Of course, the story just developed over days and days and days, because of course they don't even know what's wrong with whoever. They don't even know everything that's wrong. He ditched the truck. He jumped out of it and ran. He left his shoes in somebody's park or in somebody's backyard. He ran and used a young man's phone, talking about, I'm homeless, I called the Uber, can you please call it for me? If that man would have been smart enough, he would have told him, you can't call Uber. Uber is an app. You just order one. But old boy didn't know nothing about no Uber. He didn't know if you called him like a cab or not, because he didn't use Uber. So he ended up stopping at that man's house, because of course the sirens are rolling all around the neighborhood, because they looking for this man that done rolled through this parade. He left the car. The car was just so destroyed. And the guy held him, which ended up being a good thing, because that's how the police caught him. They caught him on this young man's porch because he was trying to get away, because he called his mama and asked his mama to call him a Uber, and she did. That's what I say about his mama. His mama was an enabler, and that I would also have her. I would have pressed charges against her also. But anyway, so he ended up going to jail. They interrogated him for however many days. Of course, he goes to trial. He pleads not guilty. I think he went for mental insanity at first. And when he saw that he wasn't going to get it, he decided to represent himself. Pro per, not pro se, which is not a difference, because he felt, I guess he represented himself as a sovereign citizen. And I don't know if you know what a sovereign citizen is, but mostly sovereign citizens just want to escape responsibility. So they sovereign citizens, but what the important part about a sovereign citizen is they don't abide by the Constitution. They don't have a birth certificate. They don't have a social security number. They do not abide by the Constitution because they don't have rights. They don't go by the Constitution. They don't believe in all of those rules and rights and regulations and laws and all of that. They are sovereign citizens. So he was sovereign, but he wanted his First Amendment and his Sixth Amendment and his 14th Amendment and the 12th Amendment. Anyway, he represented himself. Y'all, this was a pure shit show. I felt like the judge name is Judge Jennifer Darrell. She was a pumpkin. She's a sweet lady. And I feel like she wanted him to represent himself because he was so adamant about it. And she wanted to cover all bases so that he wouldn't be able to get back on appeal. However, he turned her courtroom into a circus. He cussed her out, talked to her like she was a nothing, not a judge. She had to prepare a separate courtroom for him where he could he could stand in like via satellite. She could mute him when she wanted to, because that's how like out of place he was. He was so disrespectful throughout this case. It was just unbelievable. But at the end, the case ended up, first of all, it got pushed back like a year, over a year, because they went through the attorneys, they went through this, they filed this motion, this happened, everything just kept happening. And yeah, it was almost a year because the victims wanted it to be over by the anniversary date of the next year. So by November 21st of 2022, they wanted this to be done and over. So he drugged this case out. I think it was like 18 days. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Can you imagine being on that jury and you got to come back for a whole month because a fool is acting a plum fool? Can you imagine having to be, and you getting paid $31 a day to be on a jury when you saying, oh, I got jury duty, it'll probably be 4 days, 6 days maybe. It might be a whole week, and then maybe a Monday of the next week, maybe. And then you got to go 18 days. Like, I couldn't even imagine. $31 a day for 18 days. And then hopefully your job pay you for jury duty. And then if they do they max it? Is it only like 7 days or 8, because this is an 18-day case, only because this fool is a fool. So he showed his behind, natural born behind, because he ain't got nothing but time. He know he guilty. He didn't have a defense. His opening and his closing included, I'm speaking from the heart. All I'm going to talk to y'all is from my heart. I don't want to try to state no facts, because I don't want to state facts. I'm just going to speak from the heart. Everything is just from the heart. He cried on both, just cried. He never apologized, not even in his, when he got found guilty. He never said he was sorry. He may have said, I apologize a little bit. And like, so it was just like, he just was totally disrespectful. His mother never came up to, not one day, not a one day of the case. She didn't come not one day, because she knew that if she would have came, she probably wouldn't have made it out. But it was just awful. It was awful. He made a circus out of that courtroom. The judge was a sweetheart, but I could not respect her for as much as she allowed him to make that much of a circus out of her courtroom. Like, I can see people going into her courtroom for a traffic ticket and being like, oh, you let that dude just run over you, like whatever. Like, I can see people like losing respect, getting put in contempt of court because they lost respect for her. But that's what he wanted. He wanted her to put him in contempt of court so that it could draw the case out even longer. He wanted that, but she didn't give it to him. She didn't put him in contempt. She would just put him in that other room, which would take time. And then she didn't want the jury to view him from that other room so they can see that he made a mistake, or they could see he acted like a behind. She wanted him to be in the courtroom, but it was just sometimes she couldn't help it. She just had to leave him back there and just say, forget it. But he ended up being found guilty. It was 2 days of victim impact statements. At the end of the day, he had 6 members that were murdered. It was Jane Coolidge, Virginia Sorensen, Leanna Owens, Wilhelm Haspel, Tamara Duran, and the baby, Jackson Sparks. Oh, I'm going to tell y'all this one part. Oh, my God. I thought I was going to cry myself to sleep. Jackson Sparks is a baby brother of a big brother. He got a older brother. His older brother said, I wish it would have been me. Oh, my God. When I say I could have lost it. I was snotting and rolling in the floor. I couldn't even get up for 2 days. I was like, I cannot believe that he wished he was dead, because this fool is a fool. It was so sad. It was just the saddest thing. He really just made those people's lives hell. And then he didn't even come into the case just full of remorse. He was just giving him his ass to kiss. He didn't seem like he was apologetic, like how you would go in there immensely apologetic about something like that if it wasn't on purpose. And like I said, I don't believe he intentionally did that. I do not believe that he set out to do that intentionally. I believe he has mental health. I believe he has bipolar, schizophrenic, whatever it is that they say that he has. I believe that he has it, allegedly. But he just was too proud. He was too proud. It was really, really, it was eventful. It was sad. It was funny. It had to be funny because this fool, he's definitely a fool. He was just a mess. But, yeah, you got to do some research. Do research. I don't think I advise you to sit through the whole case now, because it's like 3 years later, and who's going to want to do that 3 years later, especially if you wasn't up on it back then. If you just leaving off on a part of it that you missed. I could see you going back, but if you don't know anything about it, I wouldn't advise starting to watch the case from day one. But it was very interesting. You will definitely learn a lot. And he really did kill those people. Oh yeah, I forgot this part. He called Erica, the ex-girlfriend, because he defended himself, of course, he called people to question. He called the police that interrogated him. He tried to get him the business. He called the ex-girlfriend. Do you know he called a couple people? He called one lady who had 4 kids that got hurt, and she didn't even see it. She wasn't even there. She had went somewhere to pick something else up while her kids was being injured. She couldn't even see 2 of her kids the same night as the accident. Oh my God. He called those people and questioned them, and was harsh on questioning them too, because you got to understand, the lawyers that was on his case, they prepared this case already. So they had already had the questions and the file folders, and they had everything already set out. He just read it and did it his way. But he just had no respect, none whatsoever. It was horrible. It was ridiculous. It was sad. And I just felt so bad for all those family members who lost somebody. And yeah, this was the case of the Waukesha, Wisconsin Christmas parade, November 21st, 2021. If you have time, just Google it and just read the little notes on it. It's definitely interesting. If you want to go further, look at his mama's history. His mama didn't even drive. She just bought the car for like people to drive her around. But she didn't even drive. She didn't have a license. And she did not give him the car that day. He stole the car that day. However, I just say it's her fault because she just first of all, why you get him out of jail when he ran a girl over? Second of all, why he had to have the key to your car? Why you ain't string one of your extension cords out there and let him charge his phone up and sleep in that car with them covers and the TV? You don't get nobody like that keys to your car. So anyway, yeah. So now them people want to kill her too. She done had to move. They done gave her threats, bomb threats, all kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a total mess. But yeah, if you get some time, go look at it. And I'm out. This is Tea with the Diva. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I want to see what y'all saying. Let me know if you saw it, if you read it, if you heard about it, if you want to go read about it. I want to hear about all of that. But thank you. See you later.